Morgan Housel is the partner of all collaborative firm and a former columnist at the Mortal Field and the Wall Street Journal. He is two-time winner of the Best in Business Award from the Society of American Business Editors and Writers. He is also a winner of the New York Times Sydney Award and two-time finalist for the Gerard Loeb Award for the Distinguished Business and Financial Journalism. Morgan has presented at more than 100 conferences in a dozen countries. Introduction. The psychology of money delves into the psychology behind our financial weaknesses. Housel considers how past experience, moving the goalpost and being cloudy, rationally can worsen long-term financial terms. The ultimate is having clear, responsible financial goals that are not overly land and historical financial performance. If you can implement this approach, you can be financially successful in a long run. So, you will also benefit from the wonders of compound interest. When all have unique experience of investing. Our current relationship with money are based on our past experiences. Housel uses the example of people who lived through the Great Recession and are now scared of reinvesting. Many of us won't have lived through the Great Recession. So the author recommends the avoiding judging others for the financial decision as no one is crazy. We have all simply have different experience of investing. He also explains that we must learn to make investing decisions based on our goals and investment options rather than experience. The world is always changing and relying on your experience means you are basing your decision on knowledge of a different world. Bill Gates' competitive advantage. Both luck and risk are an integral part of finance. Do not assume that individual efforts alone will allow you or others to be successful. The author uses the example of Bill Gates. Bill Gates is highly talented and works extremely hard. But he also obtained a competitive advantage because he attended one of the few high schools in the world at the time the own computer. There are infinite moving parts within the world. This means the accidental impact of actions outside of our control often have a greater influence than our conscious decision. So work hard and take risks, but also consider the role that luck plays in finance. Focus less on specific individuals and case studies and more on broad patterns. This should also help us develop greater humility when things are going right and compassionate when they are going wrong. Rich people are more likely to make crazy decisions. Rich people are often the ones who make crazy decisions. Housel explains the goalpost seems to move the more you earn. There are countless rich individuals who have lost everything because they felt the millions they have were not enough. The lesson you can learn from the failure is you should not risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. Saying enough is realizing that an appetite for more will push you to the point of regret. Warren Buffett is a prime example of the power of compound interest. Compound interest can bring you financial freedom. That said, the human brain struggles to understand the power of compounding. Housel uses Warren Buffett as an example. Many believe his wealth is entirely due to his knowledge of sound investment. More importantly, he has been making good investments since a young age. His current net worth is $84.5 billion, but he is accumulated of $84.2 billion on his birthday. This shows the power of compounding. The key to compounding is not about earning the highest returns. You want pretty good returns that you can stick with for the longest period of time. Good investing is about not screwing up. Housel does not describe effective investing as making sound decisions. Good investing is about constantly not screwing up. He believes that the financial success can be summarized by one word: survival. The most financially successful are those who have been able to stick around for a long period of time. You can only grow your wealth if you have given an asset time to compound. Getting money requires risk taking, optimization, and putting yourself out there. Keep money requires the opposite: humility. So try to make yourself financially unbreakable rather than focusing on a big return. Humility is also about planning with the expectation your plans and won't go according to the plan. This is your margin of safety and is one of the most unappreciated force in finance. Here are a few examples of ways you can start establishing a margin of safety. Frugal budget, flexible thinking, loose timeline, do the average. The most successful, rich, and famous are there because one of the in million events. As most of our attention goes toward these huge events, it can be easy to forget their rarity. Try to avoid underestimating how rare and powerful these events are. These events mean that the investors can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. So Housel describes an investing genius as an individual who can do the average thing when all those around them are going crazy. People believe wealth will make them popular. The man in the car paradox is the people rarely thinking somebody is cool if they see them driving a nice car. Instead, people imagine how cool people would think you are if you had that car. This is a paradox because others would have the same thoughts and not consider you cool. Housel applies this more broadly to wealth. People acquire wealth because they believe this will make them liked and admired. But wealth just makes others use this as a benchmark for their own desire to be liked and admired. Stop judging people by their visible wealth. Some people use newfound wealth as an opportunity to show off. Housel suggests you stop judging people's wealth by what you see. Remember that people's true wealth is what you do not see. Those who decide not to buy something later will stay wealthy for longer. Wealth's value lies in offering you options, flexibility, and growth to one day purchase more stuff than you could right now. Your saving rate is key. Your income or investment returns are less important than your saving rate. Housel also explains that your value of wealth should always be relative to what you need. A high saving rate means having lower expense than you otherwise could. Having lower expense means your savings go farther than they would if you spend more. Your saving rate is the financial decision you have the greatest control over. When you define saving as the gap between your ego and your income, you realize that why many people with decent income save so little. Saving in the bank that earns 0% interest might actually generate an extraordinary return if they give you the flexibility to take a job with a lower salary but more purpose, or wait for the investment opportunities that come when those without flexibility turn desperate. Being rational in training. Being called irrational with your financial decisions will lead to burnout. So you are a better off for better reasonable and realistic about your financial decisions. Adopting a financial plan you can stick to over the long run is more important than being completely rational about every financial decision. A rational investor makes decisions based on a numerical fact. A reason investors make these decisions in a conference room surrounded by co-workers who want to think highly of you. Investing has a social component that's often ignored when viewed through a strictly financial lens. Stop focusing on historical data. Housel describes a mistake several investors make called the historians as prophecy fallacy. This mistake is an over-reliance on historical data to predict future financial interest. The reality is the innovation and change are integral to finance. Because the world changes, bases your investment solely on your past performance is a bad decision. History can be misleading guide to the future of the economy and stock market because it does not account for a structural change that are relevant to today's world. Leave room for error. You should always leave room for error when estimating your future return. Housel called this planning on a plan not going according to plan. So the author assumed its future return will be one-third lower than the historical average. This simple decision means he saves more than he usually would. This is his margin of safety. Avoid the extreme ends of financial planning. People goals and desires change over time and you are not different. So this means long-term financial planning can be difficult. Our inability to predict our future lives is called the end of history illusion. If you look back, I imagine you can visualize how much you have changed. That said, Housel believes you will underestimate how much you will change in the future. To counteract this, you should avoid the extreme ends of financial planning. Accept that you will likely change your mind in future. Market volatility has a fee. Everything in life has a price. The key to a lot of things with money is just figuring out what the price is and being willing to pay it. Housel highlights that the price of investing won't be immediately obvious. You should view any market volatility as a fee rather than a fine. If you can do this, you are more likely to stay in the game long enough for investing gains to work for you. The trick is convincing yourself that the market's fee is worth it. That's the only way to properly deal with volatility and uncertainty. Work out whether it is an admission fee worth paying as there's no guarantee that it will be. Find your personal financial identity. You can speak to knowledgeable friends or read books for financial experts to develop your understanding of finance. That said, you should also avoid taking financial advice from those who have different quantities of money and end goals. Try to find your personal financial identity, and you can then listen to those this identity. Be a financial optimistic. Finance has a knack for bringing out the premise in everyone. Premists often exploit present trends without accounting for how market adapt. Housel believes that a true financial optimism is expecting things to be bad and being surprised when they are not. Optimism sounds like a sales pitch. Premissism sounds like someone trying to help you. Appealing fiction affects over investment. The more you want something to be true, the more likely you will believe the story that overestimating the odds of it being true. Housel uses the example of World War I. After this war, few believed there would ever be another world war. The reality is that another was just around the corner. Housel called this event "We Want to Be True" appealing fiction. Crucially, this appealing fiction have a significant impact on our investment.
If you like this video, do like and subscribe. The ultimate mindset, limitless boundaries. We are here to transform your journey to an ultimate human being.